Do you think serial killers only exist in Netflix documentaries and true crime podcasts? What if I told you that one of the most disturbing murder cases in American history has been systematically erased from public records? The story I'm about to tell you has been pieced together from sealed court documents, redacted police files, and the testimonies of those brave enough to speak. This is the truth about the Poughkeepsie Killer. It began in the winter of 1989. Poughkeepsie, New York, a quiet Hudson Valley city of about 30,000 people. Nothing remarkable, nothing to suggest what was coming. The first disappearance barely made the local papers. 19-year-old Sarah Chambers vanished while walking home from her night shift at the Mid-Hudson Plaza. Her purse was found 3 blocks from her apartment. Nothing else. The police investigation concluded she had likely run away. Case closed. But Sarah never contacted her family again, never accessed her bank account, never used her Social Security number. She didn't run. She was taken. 6 months later, David Westbrook, a 24-year-old graduate student at Marist College, disappeared after leaving a study group. His car was found in the campus parking lot, keys still in the ignition, textbooks on the passenger seat, coffee still warm in the cup holder. The official report stated he had been under academic pressure, another presumed runaway, another case closed. By the end of 1990, 4 more people had vanished from Poughkeepsie and the surrounding Dutchess County, all between the ages of 19 and 26, all from different backgrounds, no obvious connections. Local police treated each case individually, standard procedure. Missing person files were created, investigations conducted, nothing found, nothing linked. A tragic coincidence of people leaving their lives behind. That was the official position. But Detective Robert Hargrove didn't believe in coincidences. A 15-year veteran of the Poughkeepsie Police Department, Hargrove began seeing patterns where others saw random events. 6 disappearances in 18 months, all within a 5-mile radius, all occurring between 10 p.m. and midnight, all on Tuesdays or Fridays. No bodies found, no evidence of struggle, just people vanishing into thin air. Hargrove began his own unofficial investigation in January 1991. He worked nights, weekends, using personal time to dig deeper into the cases. The department denied his requests for resources. "We don't have the manpower to chase ghosts," his captain told him. But Hargrove continued. He interviewed families, friends, co-workers. He mapped the disappearances, created timelines, looked for overlaps in the victims' lives. And then he found something. A 1982 blue Ford Econoline van had been spotted near 3 of the disappearance sites, not at the exact times, but within hours. The van had no distinguishing features, no company logo, no bumper stickers, just an ordinary work van, the kind thousands of contractors and delivery drivers used every day. Hardly conclusive evidence, but it was something. Hargrove expanded his search. He requested traffic camera footage from the nights of the disappearances. Most had been overwritten months ago, standard procedure. But 2 tapes remained in evidence storage, and there it was. The blue van, passing through the intersection of Main and Market at 11:47 p.m. on the night Sarah Chambers disappeared. The same van crossing Raymond Avenue at 10:12 p.m. when David Westbrook vanished. In March 1991, Hargrove presented his findings to the department: 6 missing persons, 1 potential vehicle of interest, the pattern of dates and times. He requested a task force. His request was denied. "Circumstantial at best," the official response read. "Insufficient evidence to warrant additional resources." Hargrove was ordered to focus on his assigned cases. The disappearances remained separate investigations, separate files, separate dead ends. 3 weeks. Later, Detective Robert Hargrove disappeared. He left the police station at 11:30 p.m. after working late. His car was found in the employee parking lot, his service weapon in the glove compartment, his badge on the seat, a half-eaten sandwich on the dashboard. The official report stated he had been under investigation for misappropriation of department resources. Financial irregularities, substance abuse, another case closed without resolution. But those who knew Hargrove tell a different story. No evidence of financial problems was ever found. No history of drug or alcohol issues. His personnel file, which I've seen, showed exemplary service. Commendations, perfect attendance, regular promotions. Yet the narrative that emerged painted him as troubled, obsessive, potentially unstable. His investigation into the disappearances was buried. His files mysteriously vanished from evidence storage. The disappearances stopped for a while. In October 1994, they began again. Melissa Turner, 22, vanished from a gas station on Route 9. Security footage showed her paying for fuel at 11:17 p.m. She walked back to her car, and then nothing. The camera had a 3-second gap, a common technical glitch in early 90s security systems. When the feed resumed, her car was empty. The door still open, the gas nozzle still in the tank. The next morning, something unprecedented happened. Melissa's driver's license was found in the mailbox of the Poughkeepsie Journal newspaper office. Attached was a handwritten note. "I am the collector. She is safe in my care." The police suppressed this evidence. It never appeared in official reports. The Journal never published it. But a copy of the note exists in the personal files of Journal editor Thomas Wright, who kept detailed records of his interactions with the police. By 1996, 7 more people had vanished. Each disappearance followed the pattern. Tuesday or Friday nights. No signs of struggle, no bodies found. And after each, Motif 1. An item belonging to the victim would appear at the Journal office. A watch, a ring, a student ID, always with the same message. "I am the collector. They are safe in my care." The police continued to treat the cases as unrelated. Public statements referred to unfortunate coincidences and separate incidents under investigation. But internally, something changed. A special unit was formed under the direction of Captain James Redford. No press release announced its creation, no official acknowledgement of its purpose. But department budgets show a significant allocation of resources to Special Investigations Unit 7, beginning in February 1996. What happened next is where things take a truly disturbing turn. On April 17, 1996, at 2:14 a.m., Poughkeepsie police responded to an anonymous call about a disturbance at 771 Creek Road, an abandoned property on the outskirts of town. Officers found a 1982 blue Ford Econoline van parked behind the dilapidated farmhouse. The registration had been removed. The van filed off. Inside the van, nothing. Clean. Immaculate. Not a fingerprint, not a fiber, not a hair. Professional forensic cleaning. But the farmhouse itself revealed horrors beyond imagination. In the basement, officers discovered what they initially believed to be mannequins, 13 of them, positioned around a large wooden table, seated as if for dinner. But they weren't mannequins. They were human bodies, preserved, posed, each victim from the disappearances, including Detective Hargrove, each wearing their own clothes, each with their eyes open, each smiling. The medical examiner's preliminary report, which was immediately classified, indicated something impossible. The bodies showed no signs of decomposition, despite some having been missing for years. No embalming fluid was detected, no evidence of traditional taxidermy methods. The bodies were simply preserved, as if time had stopped for them at the moment of their deaths. More disturbing still were the autopsy findings. None of the victims showed signs of trauma. No stab wounds, no gunshots, no blunt force injuries, no evidence of strangulation. The cause of death for all 13 victims was listed as cessation of biological functions of unknown etiology. In simple terms, they had all just stopped living, their bodies perfectly preserved at the moment of death. The most chilling detail, one that was completely redacted from all official documents, but confirmed by 3 separate sources from the medical examiner's office, was the state of the victims' brains. Each showed patterns of activity frozen in the cerebral tissue, something medically impossible. Brain activity ends at death, but these scans showed neural patterns consistent with a single emotion: ecstasy. Whatever had killed them had brought them incomprehensible pleasure in their final moments. The Creek Road scene was processed for 72 hours by a joint task force including FBI agents from Quantico. Then, Something unprecedented happened. Federal officials ordered the scene sealed. All evidence was confiscated. All reports classified. All personnel involved signed non-disclosure agreements with severe penalties for violations. The property was cordoned off for environmental hazard remediation and remained under armed guard for 14 months. When it reopened, the farmhouse had been demolished. The foundation filled in. The property landscaped and prepared for development. No trace remained of what had been found there. The official statement released to the press on April 20, 1996, made no mention of bodies. It stated only that a suspect in several missing persons cases had been identified but remained at large. The case was ongoing. No further details would be released to avoid compromising the investigation. The families of the missing were told only that significant developments had occurred and that they would be updated when possible. Those updates never came. In December 1996, the Poughkeepsie Journal received another package. Inside was a VHS tape and a note reading, "I am the collector. This is my work." Editor Thomas Wright viewed the tape before contacting authorities. What he saw haunted him until his death from suicide in 2003. His detailed journal, which I obtained from his widow, describes the contents. The tape begins with static, then shows the interior of the farmhouse basement. The 13 victims are seated around the table, exactly as police found them. But they're moving, talking, laughing, eating a meal together. Detective Hargrove raises a glass in toast. The others join him. They look happy, content. The camera pans around the table, showing each face. Their eyes, all their eyes, are wrong. The pupils are vertical, like a cat's. The image quality is poor, but the movements are fluid, not manipulated, not edited. They're alive, but not alive. The tape runs for 17 minutes. Just these people, these dead people, enjoying a meal together. Then the camera turns, showing the cameraman's reflection in a mirror. It's empty. No one is holding the camera. Wright turned the tape over to the FBI. It was never mentioned in any official report, never entered into evidence. Its current whereabouts are unknown. The disappearances stopped again. For years, Poughkeepsie seemed to return to normal. The missing persons cases faded from public memory. Families moved away. The investigation officially remained open, but inactive. The special unit was disbanded in 1998. Its files were sealed and transferred to federal custody. Then, in 2008, it started again. The pattern had changed slightly. The disappearances now occurred on Mondays and Thursdays. The victims were older, 30s and 40s instead of 20s. But the methodology remained the same. People vanishing without a trace, no struggle, no evidence. Between 2008 and 2012, 9 more Poughkeepsie residents disappeared. This time, there was a significant difference. No items were left at the newspaper office. No notes from the collector. Instead, each victim's family received a photograph in the mail exactly 1 month after the disappearance. Each photo showed their missing loved one seated at a long table, smiling, happy, eyes altered, pupils vertical like a cat's, and next to each victim sat one of the people who had disappeared in the 90s, unchanged, unaged. The FBI took over the investigation entirely. Local police were sidelined. The photographs were confiscated. Families were told the images were forgeries, sick pranks from someone exploiting their grief. But multiple family members made copies before surrendering the originals. These copies have circulated online in certain forums dedicated to unsolved crimes. They're quickly removed from mainstream sites. Accounts sharing them are suspended. Links to them break within hours of being posted. In 2013, an FBI analyst named Karen Chen was assigned to digitize the case files from both the 1990s disappearances and the more recent ones. 3 months into her assignment, she contacted journalist Michael Reynolds with the Washington Post, claiming to have discovered a pattern of institutional suppression regarding the Poughkeepsie cases. They arranged to meet at a hotel in Arlington, Virginia on July 17, 2013. Chen never arrived. Reynolds waited for 3 hours before returning to his office. The next morning, he received an envelope containing a thumb drive and a handwritten note. "If anything happens to me, publish everything." The thumb drive contained hundreds of files, Photographs, reports, interviews, documenting not just the Poughkeepsie disappearances, but similar cases across the country dating back to the 1940s. Reynolds began verifying the information, contacting sources, cross-referencing details. 3 days later, his apartment was broken into. His laptop, external hard drives, and the thumb drive were taken. Nothing else was disturbed. That same night, Karen Chen's body was found in her car in the FBI headquarters parking garage. Cause of death, carbon monoxide poisoning, ruled a suicide, case closed. Reynolds published nothing about the Poughkeepsie cases. He took a leave of absence from the Post and moved to his family's home in Maine. He has declined all interview requests since 2013. His editor at the time, Patricia Dawson, told me, "Michael was one of our most dedicated investigative reporters. Whatever he found in those files changed him fundamentally. He's not the same person." I've spent the past 3 years investigating the Poughkeepsie Killer. I've interviewed former police officers, family members of victims, journal employees, and medical examiner staff. I've filed dozens of Freedom of Information Act requests, most denied, some partially fulfilled with heavily redacted documents. I've built a network of sources within various agencies who've provided what they can, often at great personal risk. What emerges is a pattern, far beyond a conventional serial killer case. The evidence points to something older, something that has operated in Poughkeepsie for decades, perhaps centuries. Local historical records show clusters of disappearances dating back to the 1850s, all following similar patterns, all investigated, all unresolved, all eventually forgotten. The entity known as the Collector appears to select its victims carefully. Background checks of all the disappeared reveal a common trait not immediately obvious: creative potential. Sarah Chambers wrote poetry published in small literary journals. David Westbrook was composing an electronic music album. Detective Hargrove painted landscapes in his spare time. Every victim had some form of artistic expression they pursued, whether publicly or privately. More disturbing is what happens to those connected to the investigations. Of the 17 officers involved in the 1996 Creek Road discovery, 14 have died: heart attacks, strokes, suicides, accidents. The 3 still living all retired early with various psychological issues. Similar patterns affect journalists, medical examiners, and family members who push too hard for answers. The most recent development came just 4 months ago. A USB drive was delivered to the Poughkeepsie Journal offices. No sender information, no fingerprints. The drive contained a single video file dated October 31st, 2024. The video shows a dinner party in what appears to be an elegant underground room. Seated around a massive table are 38 people, every person who disappeared in Poughkeepsie since 1989. They haven't aged. They're talking, laughing, enjoying themselves. Their eyes, those vertical pupil eyes, occasionally turn toward the camera, acknowledging the viewer. At exactly 7 minutes into the video, everyone stops. They turn to face the camera directly, and in perfect unison, they speak. "We are coming to collect. We need new guests. Perhaps you will join us next." The video ends with a series of images: streets, parks, and buildings in Poughkeepsie. Current images, recent. And in each one, if you look carefully at the background, you can see them. The disappeared, watching, waiting, standing perfectly still among crowds of oblivious people. Their eyes wrong, their smiles too wide. The Journal turned the drive over to the FBI. Within 24 hours, the 2 staff members who viewed it took indefinite leave for health reasons. The editor who received it died 3 weeks later, a brain aneurysm while sleeping. Natural causes. Case closed. Whatever is happening in Poughkeepsie continues. The disappearances have started again. 3 people since November. Same pattern. No evidence, no struggle, just gone. Local police refer all inquiries to federal authorities. Federal authorities provide no comment. Families receive the same platitudes, the same empty promises of ongoing investigations. But now there's something new. Family members report seeing their missing loved ones. Glimpses in crowds, reflections in windows, standing at the foot of their beds at night, always smiling, always watching, always with those wrong vertical eyes. The truth about the Poughkeepsie Killer isn't that it's a person. It's not human at all. The evidence suggests something beyond our understanding, an entity that doesn't kill its victims in any conventional sense, but transforms them, preserves them, makes them part of its collection. The bodies found in 1996 weren't dead in any way we comprehend death. They were changed, converted, recruited, and they're still out there, still collecting, still growing their numbers. What makes this case truly terrifying isn't just the fate of those taken. It's the systematic erasure of the truth by authorities who've encountered something they cannot explain, cannot combat, and cannot acknowledge without undermining the very foundations of what we understand as reality. It's the coordinated suppression of information across decades and multiple agencies. It's the pattern of silencing those who get too close. I've taken precautions with this information. By the time you see this, copies have been distributed to trusted individuals who will release everything if anything happens to me. I don't share this to frighten you, but to warn you. Knowledge is protection, awareness is armor. But I must also warn you of something else, something I've noticed in my research. Those who pay too much attention to this case often report strange experiences. Shadows moving in peripheral vision, reflections that don't match movements, dreams of long tables and joyous feasts with familiar strangers, and most disturbing, the growing sensation of being watched, evaluated, considered. If you've watched this far, if you've absorbed this information, you may have already been noticed. The collector and its gathered guests may already be assessing your potential, your creativity, your worthiness to join their eternal dinner party. They might be watching you right now, in the corner of your room, in the reflection on your screen, just at the edge of your vision. Don't look directly. They notice when you notice. If you've experienced anything unusual since beginning this video, sudden temperature drops, electronic glitches, the sensation of being observed, comment below with the phrase, "I decline the invitation." It won't protect you completely, but those who've done so report fewer experiences afterward. For those interested in learning more, subscribe to this channel. Future videos will detail protective measures, historical patterns, and survivor testimonies. But be warned, each video you watch increases your visibility to them. Knowledge offers protection, but also exposure. The Poughkeepsie Killer isn't one person, it's many. A growing collection of the transformed, and they're hungry for new guests, new talent, new creativity to consume, always watching, always waiting, always collecting. And now they've seen you too.